I am so excited today to introduce to you ACAC's new executive pastor, Pastor Spencer Sweeting. Yes, or as we affectionately call him, Pastor Spence. So a first official order of business, since it's your first week here and we are welcoming you to Pittsburgh, you have to have one terrible towel. Here we go. Let's go. He actually is a Packers fan, but we're praying for him. If you would just continue to pray. No, we're kosher with the Packers. Hey, welcome.
So excited to be here.
This is truly an answer to prayer. So many of our church have been praying for the right person to come as our executive pastor here at ACAC. So a little background, we met maybe 4 years ago, and from that very first lunch in Colorado Springs, we were just kindred spirits, worship background and all of that. And I never in 1,000 years would have imagined that we'd be working together here at ACAC, but God had plans and He wrote this. And so I just want to take the opportunity for our church family to get to know you a little bit. And so you're actually returning to Pennsylvania because you're originally from here. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, background, family.
Yeah, it's so good to be here, ACAC. My family and I are from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, originally, born and raised. Both my wife and I attended Penn State University. We are. And we've been in Colorado the past 5 years. We're excited to be coming back to Pennsylvania. We've been in ministry for over 20 years now, the last 12 as a lead pastor. And we're just really excited about the opportunity to come and be part of a church like ACAC. I'm excited to run with my friend Alan. Like you said, we met a couple years ago, and instantly I was like, this is my brother. And I have been so honored and excited to come and work with you and the team here and be part of this church.
ACAC isn't unfamiliar to you, especially even like years. And you told me like one of the things when we first started talking about this was like ACAC is like your dream job. Explain that to the ACAC family.
Yeah, so growing up, I grew up in an African American church, and then in high school and into college, I was attending kind of more of your white church, and I came down here my freshman year at Penn State to visit a friend, and she brought me to ACAC. And I remember the first time coming into the room and just experiencing the diverse community worshiping together. Calvin Walker was on stage, Rock Dillon was preaching. I just never experienced anything like that. And to me, when I think about what the kingdom of God looks like here on earth as in heaven, like the first thing that comes to mind for me is ACAC. Wow. So for me to come here, I've followed ACAC for a long time from afar. I've been a big fan of the church through the years. So that's a big part of it. But also when we began to discuss this opportunity, the Lord was already leading a shift in my heart that I was recognizing that maybe the way that I'm wired is not to be lead pastor for the next season. And so when we began to talk, I began to just feel like my heart come alive in talking about the focus of developing people and helping to advance ministry impact and to help us to continue to love our city really well. Like those are things that I get so excited about and that the Lord has gifted me to do. And so the idea of not only coming and operating in my gifts, but my passions at a church that I think is just, I believe that God has done so much in this church for 130 years, but I believe we've barely scratched the surface of what He wants to do here in Pittsburgh and beyond. So I just feel really honored and just full of anticipation for my family to come and be part of this church.
I believe that too, and you just touched on it. I know you just told me like one of the big questions you have gotten from people outside of ACAC and friends is, okay, you're making this jump from lead pastor to executive pastor, and you and I talked about that. And I would just love for you to share with that, because I've only known you as a lead pastor. I mean, we were both worship pastors. He can lead worship. You're a songwriter. You're a great musician, but you've been a lead pastor for all these years. Just share with them again about that switch, what God was saying to you, and
Yeah, I believe that the Lord gifts all of us uniquely. Ephesians 4 says that He gives some to be apostles and prophets and evangelists and shepherds and teachers. And so for me, part of it's a recognition that there's some aspects of being a lead pastor and sitting in the seat that you're sitting in that honestly I didn't get very excited about. Didn't get very, I was gifted to do, but they weren't the things that made me come alive. And so for me, the shift really is recognize I get to specialize in my gifts and passions in a role where I get to support you and help to bring strategy and support to the vision that God has given you as the lead pastor of this church, but also to focus on developing staff and helping to support the rest of the team in their ministry goals. And for me, that just gets me so excited. And so for me, this doesn't feel like a step back. It feels like a step forward into what God's called me to do.
Yeah. Well, I want you to know I'm equally excited to run with you and believe you are bringing gifts not only to the church, but to me, that it's going to be fun to journey together. Congregation, I'm excited for you to get to know Pastor Spencer, and I'm so grateful for your prayers as we have gone through this process.